Okay. Shalom, my dear friends from Panama and from all over the world. Today is a very special Shabbat. Why I'm saying very special Shabbat? Every Shabbat is special. But I ask you ask this Shabbat, what's so special about it? This Shabbat is Shabbat Shkalim. It's not only Parashat Vayakel, it's also Shkalim. So what we read yesterday, Shederas Shabbat, about Mahatzit Shekel, this Shabbat is going to be the Maftir. We're going to read about the Mahatzit Shekel. So 2 weeks in a row, we are talking about Mahatzit Shekel. So we will see, if you see now, I start from the end of Parashat Tetzaveh, one parasha before Kitisa. Last week was Kitisa. 2 weeks ago was Tetzaveh. And the last part of Tetzaveh is talking about Korban hatamid. So now, they said, V'zeh asher ta'aseh. All the question of the rabbi is why you mention the altar, V'zeh asher ta'aseh ala mizbeach, on the altar, the Korban hatamid, because if you talk about Korban, which book is suitable for Korbanot, which Chumash is Vayikra. So this parasha really should be the altar and Korban Tamid in book of Vayikra. Or there is one more parasha, we're talking about the Korbanot, Parashat Pinchas, in Sefer Bamidbar. So here is like the Torah is giving you like apology why I put the Korban Tamid in Parashat Tetzaveh. Today we'll see not only Parashat Tetzaveh, why is next to Parashat Kitisa. That means the Korban Tamid is next to Mahatzit Shekel. And why we say it twice? Why the Torah wrote twice the same parasha? I will show you. And this parasha, it was a big dispute between two parts of the Jewish nation. We'll see later on about the big dispute. Here is the end of the Parashat Tetzaveh. V'zeh asher ta'aseh ala mizbeach. This is what you should do on the altar. Kevasim b'nei shana shenaim layom tamid. Twice a day you bring Korban hatamid. Right? Et hakeves ehad ha'ehad. One sheep. Ta'aseh baboker. One you do in the morning. V'et hakeves hasheni ta'aseh b'na'ar mayim. And the second sheep you will bring between the twilight time. Before stars coming out. Do you know what we do today instead of Korban hatamid?
Tefillah.
Which tefillah?
We pray. Shaharit ve'arvit.
Shaharit and Mincha. Not Arvit. Shaharit is the Korban of the Boker and Mincha is the twilight time. Ve'isaron solet, and you give the measurement. I go to 13. Ve'etakeves hasheni ta'aseh. And the second one you do twilight time. So here, the question is like, what's so special about the Tamid that you bring the Korban Tamid in the Mishkan? Okay, remember, if you're talking about the Mishkan, you're talking about the vessels, the tools, the Aron, the Shulchan, all the tools, the Menorah, but we're not talking about Korbanot. So there is something special about Korban Tamid that you put it together with the Mishkan. Okay, and now question number 2, why he multiple the Parashat Tamid? You wrote it here in Parashat Tetzaveh, in Parashat Pinchas. Rashi trying to explain that this time Korban Tamid in Parashat Tetzaveh is only the Korban that they did during the building of the Mishkan. Only one time shot. Okay, during the building of the Mishkan. So Hashem put the Korban Tamid, they sacrifice during the building of the Mizbeach, of the altar. But the Korban of Parashat Pinchas is the Korban for generations, not only one time shot. Ramban said to Rashi, he rejected Rashi, he said it is impossible what you say. Why? Because it says in the parasha, Le Dorotechem. Look at line 15. Ola tamid Le Dorotechem. What does Le Dorotechem mean?
To the generation.
That means what? Forever. So Rashi, your explanation, it's one time shot, it doesn't come with this word. If it was only one time, so it will not be the Le Dorotechem. So Ramban said, no, we need better explanation. Why Hashem, why the Torah doubled the Korban hatamid? One time in Parashat Tetzaveh, before Kitisa, and one time in Parashat Pinchas. Here, this is Kitisa.
I don't have clear. So in Shaharit you do tamid.
The Tfilat Shaharit is tamid of the morning. We have two tamid. Tamid of morning, tamid of twilight time. Tamid of the morning is Shaharit, and tamid of twilight time is Minha. The Arvit, the Tfilah that we do after stars coming out, is only for all the Korbanot, the remains of the Korbanot. What the Kohanim did with all the remaining of the Korbanot, they burned it in the fire during the whole night. So that's why the Arvit is not li Korban, is Keneged, is parallel to all the fire consume the remaining of the Korbanot. So that's why Arvit is not so, I would say important. It is important, but it is not important just like Shaharit and Minha. Shaharit and Minha is higher than Arvit, because Shaharit and Minha is Korbanot, and Arvit is only the remaining of the Korbanot. That's why. That's different. Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Now, Mahatzit shekel, as you see, let's see here, I put here. Mahatzit shekel, I want you to understand, is not regular tzedakah. Okay? When you bring tzedakah, how much money you give?
10%.
10%. Okay. If I want to give 20,
Yes, you can.
if I want to give 7%, it's not halacha. I mean, everybody give, 10% is just, recently the rabbi said give 10%. But you get ish asher yidevenu libo. Everybody will bring whatever his heart giving, tell him to give. But tzedakah of the hatzit shekel is not, how much you want. Is exactly half of the shekel. No more, no less. That's number one. Number two, it is an option or a must.
Must.
This is a must. This is not an option. Everybody. And now what the difference? What if a rich man would like to bring more than half a shekel?
He cannot.
He cannot. And what if the poor wants to give less than half a shekel? He cannot. The ashir lo yarbe v'adda lo yam'it. The rich man and the poor man bring the same amount of money. Now, when you start to remind the people to bring shekel, Rosh Chodesh Adar. That's why this Shabbat is Shabbat Shkalim. It's Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar. Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh Adar, mashmi'im ala shkalim. Now, how do I know I must? In Rosh Chodesh Nisan, if somebody did not bring Mahatzit shekel, you know who is knocking your door? The collection. They're going to take your TV out, or your dryer, or your washer, whatever it is. That kofin ala shkalim. So Rosh Chodesh Adar, you make the announcement. In Rosh Chodesh Nisan, it's deadline. If not, the collection committee is going to punish you. Okay? Now, the last but not least, the money, where is the money going? The money is going to Korbanot hatamid. Korban hatamid. Korban hatzibur. Now you understand the connection between shekel, between Mahatzit shekel and Korban hatamid. Okay, what the connection? The end of Parashat Tetzaveh is Korban hatamid. So the people ask, where you get the money for Korban hatamid? Because it's tzibur, it's the public. He said, from Mahatzit shekel. So Mahatzit shekel is going to Korban hatamid. Okay, is it clear? Now one more thing, I think I show you this one picture. Do you see this picture? You see the picture?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You see this, what I point here? You see this is the wood, and you see the two pins here, and the two pins going to the, the socket of the foundation of the square down. This square down called Adnei HaMishkan. Okay? Here you see, האדנים של המשכן, it's called the silver sockets. That's you see the socket here?
Yes.
This socket in Hebrew called אדני המשכן. You know where the money for this? מחצית השקל. Okay, so we will not learn about this today, but it's look how everything was calculated in the Mishkan. Even you know where is the money going to. Every donation, where is it going to? So for conclusion, מחצית השקל is going for Korban hatamid, which is Korban tzibur, the public, and for אדני המשכן, the socket. Okay, the socket of the Mishkan. This is the socket. Okay? So now we can move forward.
Those were silver sockets for the columns of the Mishkan.
Is what?
The silver sockets were like for the columns, for the...
Yeah, look here, Ken. The secret, they said, you see the whole picture here? You see the whole picture? So they put, the top, every wood put inside the socket. That's why you see the two pins here going exactly to two holes. To two holes here, and it's coming together exactly, and it's stable. Very stable. 2 weeks ago, two weeks ago, do you remember what we learned on this picture? What is this?
The
ring.
Huh?
No, the palo.
El pasador.
Yes.
¿Cómo se llama?
Yeah.
Pasador.
Pasador, exactly, the pasador. הבריח התיכון. הבריח התיכון, the pasador בדיוק. He said, he said, this is the בריח התיכון. And the בריח התיכון, everything going in the socket, it's wonderful building. Even though it was portable, but when it was the Mishkan is a tent. Keep in mind, it's not the Hamikdash. So in spite of being a tent, it was very stable. Even if you had a storm in the desert, it was very, very stable. Because everything was really with a lot of thought how to make it stable. Of course, because of Hashem's instruction. Now, I'm going to a very, very special history in our history. The big dispute about Korban HaTzibur. The question was, we have two groups. Like today we have groups. We are the people who are Shomer Shabbat and following our Hazal. We call them Orthodox. Nachon? What we have inside beside Orthodox? Conservative, Reform. Okay? In Israel, Baruch Hashem, we don't have Reform. We have, but very small. I hope they will be gone very soon. But we have Karaim. You ever heard about Karaim? Karaim is the group that believe only in the written Torah. They don't believe, when they say put tefillin, they put tefillin between the eyes. Here, mamash between the two eyes. There is no light in Shabbat. Everything that is in written Torah. Okay? But that's different. So in the time of the Talmud, they had the same thing. Instead of, we said Prushim and Tzdukim, they said Prushim and Tzdukim. We say today Orthodox and Karaim and Reform and Conservative. But then they said Tzdukim and Prushim. Prushim is us. Okay? The people who believe in the Torah She'Ba'al Peh and Torah She'Bichtav. Prushim. And Tzdukim is the people who believe only in the written Torah. Is it clear? Okay, now let's see the Gemara. What's so big deal about Korban HaTamid? Tanur Rabbanan is Masechet Menachot, page 65, line 4. Tanur Rabbanan, in len yom hayad delo itana behon mikzaton delo lemispot behon. Those days, you're not allowed to fast and no eulogy. When? Meresh Yarcha de Nisan ad Teman Yabe. From Rosh Chodesh Nisan to 8th of Nisan, no Tahanun. No fast day, no eulogy. By the way, today, all Chodesh Nisan, we don't say Tahanun, the entire month. But here the Gemara is saying, she break down the month, why? So now the first 8 days, they say no Tahanun, why? Itokam Temida. What is Itokam? The Tamid was established. If I said the Tamid, the Korban Tamid was established, what do you understand? What was before? Was not established.
Yes.
Right? That means somebody tried to make Korban Tamid differently than what Hashem said. So he said on these days, the Korban Tamid was established, was stable. So the question I ask, what was before? Why it was established that we celebrate? How do I know we celebrate? No Tahanun, no eulogy. So it's like Purim. It's like a holiday. So he said, what happened that we are celebrating big time? And from the 8th to Hag Shavuot, from 8 Nisan all the Shavuot, the Hag Shavuot was established. If I said the Hag Shavuot was established, what does that mean? That means Hag Shavuot was not established. So what happened between the Tzdukim and the Prushim? Somebody knows? Okay, if you don't know, I'm sure you know some of it. Because we learned this in the previous years, some of it. As Hashem the Gemara started to explain. Line 7. We don't make any eulogy from Rosh Chodesh Nisan to the 8th of Nisan because the Tamid was established. Why? Because the Tzdukim Amru Yahid Mitnadev Umevi Tamid. Now tell me, I put yellow and red. When I put yellow and red, remember this is important. I said, who supposed to bring Korban Tamid? Who?
Everyone, the Tzibur.
Tzibur. So what do you mean everyone? When you say everyone, you mean what? Together or one can bring?
One.
One cannot bring. Only Tzibur. Okay?
Yes.
Only Tzibur. If singular wants to bring Korban Tamid, Asur, it's prohibition. It's forbidden. Okay? So, but the Tzdukim said, no. They said Tzibur could bring, but single one can also bring. Okay? Yahid mitnadev u'mevi tamid. Yahid means single. Single can bring Korban Tamid. Oh, Rabotai, that was a severe statement. So severe that almost we had a civil war. The Prushim said, on my dead body, mamash kacha. So they started to dispute loud and start to see who understands the Torah better. So the Gemara say, my drush, they said to the Tzdukim, how do you know? Give me a source. How do you know that single can bring? He said, okay, I'll give you a pasuk. Kasuv, et hakeves ha'echad, look line 9. What I put in red?
Ta'aseh.
Ta'aseh. But what is ta'aseh?
You can make it.
To do it.
You can bring.
But it's singular or plural?
Singular.
Singular. את הכבש אחד תעשה בבוקר ואת הכבש השני תעשה בין הערביים. Twice תעשה. So the tzdukim sound correct. They said, you know, you asked me where I took it from. I took it from the pasuk. If Hashem wants to say only public, only tzibur, how do you say you should do in plural, in Hebrew?
Ta'asu.
Ta'asu. But it doesn't say ta'asu, it says ta'aseh. So far, who is leading? That's Dukim. But be patient. Don't go home now. I know you are home. Say, but don't run away. Otherwise you change to be a reform. He said, ta'aseh, maya hadru. So what the Prushim answered to them? He said, no, I have another pasuk for you. Et korbani lahmi li ishai. You know, at the end of the korban, it says, tishmeru. What is tishmeru?
You can keep it.
Guard. You should guard. You should keep. But it's plural and singular.
Plural.
It's plural. He said tishmeru. So who is right? The tzdukim or the prushim?
Prushim.
Why? You're not objective. But let's say you are neutral. But who bring more sources, more evidence? The tzdukim or the prushim? How many words the tzdukim brought?
The Tzdukim brought two. And
Two words.
brought one.
And one. So who is stronger?
Tzdukim.
The tzdukim, stronger. So now the tzdukim said, the prushim said to tzdukim, you know why it says ta'aseh baboker? Who make the korban? Who sacrifice?
The Kohen.
The Kohen. The Kohen is singular. It's not the Jewish nation. The Kohen represent the Jewish nation. When he said Tishmeru, is every single Jewish. It says in plural. But Ta'aseh is also because he represent the nation. And nation is singular. That's why Ta'aseh. So שיהיו כולם באים מתרומת המשכן. Now we understand, and Baruch Hashem. And because of this, they celebrate, they won, they defeat them, and they celebrated big time. So the expression was no tahanun, no fast, no eulogy. When you say no fast, no eulogy, no tahanun, you know it's a holiday. So that's the reason, because they defeat the tzdukim, they defeated the tzdukim, and they won. Big, big victory. Now, if you remember, what you remember probably about Shavuot, do you remember what was the dispute about Shavuot? The question is, when we start to bring Sfirat HaOmer, to start Sfirat HaOmer?
After Pesach.
Second night
One day
of
after
Pesach.
Pesach.
Pesach, when you say Pesach, what do you mean? Which date?
The second night.
The second night.
16 of Nisan.
What?
16 of Nisan.
Very good. 16 of Nisan. When you say after Pesach, I don't want after Chol HaMoed. After the first Yom Tov. Nachon? How do we know it's 16 of Nisan? You know the Pasuk? Ruth, I'm ready to bring you coffee. You know, because the Pasuk says, Mimohorat HaShabbat. One day after Shabbat. What is Shabbat? According to Tzdukim, Shabbat is Saturday. According to us, Shabbat, it could be Saturday, it could be Yom Tov.
Yes, Yom Tov.
Yom Tov, okay, so now we said, Mimohorat HaShabbat, 16 of Nisan, after Yom Tov. But they said, no, after Shabbat. The first Shabbat after Leil HaSeder, the first Shabbat of Leil HaSeder, Sunday, you start to count. So always Shavuot, going to fall when? On Sunday. 7 weeks exactly. It falls all the time on Sunday. Is it clear? So Rabotai, you know what the dispute is? It's a big dispute. It's dispute on the Jewish calendar. Where do you put Shavuot? You put Shavuot 50th day after 16 of Nisan, and you put Shavuot the first Sunday after Pesach. Is mamash big different. So it's a big nafkamina, Rabotai. This dispute is one of the most famous dispute about Shavuot and about what we said, Korban hatamid. You know, it's not so famous like Shavuot. So look what happened when they had discussion. Line 12. מתימניה בבעד סוף מועדה איתות בחגא דשבועיה. חג שבועות was established. זה לא למספד שהיו ביתוסין אומרים, ביתוסין is almost like צדוקים. עצרת אחר השבת. עצרת means, you know, ביום הראשון בשבוע, he said always after the holiday is going to be right after means Sunday, after Shabbat, literally Shabbat. נטפל להם רבי יוחנן בן זכאי. So Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, remember Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, he was the one who established the yeshiva in Yavne. Remember? Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Elazar, all these is Talmidim. ואמר להם, שוטים. He said to the Baitusim, שוטים. You know what is shote? Not with tough. You know what is shote? Nah?
The drink.
Locos.
What is it? What is shotim?
Loco.
Loco. Shotim is in slang, in Hebrew, is stupid. Shotim. Shote, לא with tav. Shote with tav is drinking. This is shotim with tet. Shotim with tet is you are fool, you are stupid. He said fool. But Rabban Yochanan never talked like this. But he was so upset with them. He said, shotim. Minayin lachem. How do you know that mimahorat Shabbat you take it literally? How you know? Maybe it's Yom Tov. ולא היה דם אדם אחד שהיה משיבו. No one of the Baitusim. Remember, Baitusim is like the Tzdukim. No one from the Baitusim had the guts to respond to Rabban Yochanan. חוץ מזקן אחד. One old man שהיה מפטפט. It was one old man that always were anti-religious or anti-פרושים or anti-תורה שבעל פה. And he said to Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai, look what he said to him. ואמר, משה רבנו אוהב ישראל היה. Moshe Rabbeinu loved the Jewish nation. We agree with this? We all agree. ויודע שעצרת יום אחד. He knows שבועות. How many days is שבועות? One. הוא said, מוש חרם? הוא עומד ותקנה אחר שבת. Why he made it on Sunday? He made it on Sunday. They have a long weekend. They can go to Santa Clara or Coronado or New York. They have 2 days in a row. He said, look, they said, ותקנה אחר שבת, look like 17. And read, כדי שישראל מתענגים 2 ימים. They have 2 days pleasure, long weekend. קרא עליו מקרא הזה. רבן יוחנן, when he heard this stupid statement, he said to him, okay, if you say, I'm asking you a question, how far is the desert from the desert Sinai to Eretz Israel? How far? Do you know how far? How many days of walking?
3 days.
How many?
3 days.
Why 3? 3 mean getting for Shavuot. That's why I get mixed up. He says, 11 yom mechoreb. 11 days. That's everybody know the distance. And how long it took us?
40 years.
40 years. He said to him, if Moshe loves the Jewish people, why he gave them to walk 40 years and not 11 days? It's not a pleasure to have 40 years in the desert. So now this old man started to feel that Rabban Yochanan making fun of him. He's talking, very cynical. He said to him, are you joking? He said, I'm not joking. You are joking. Because you give a joke, I give another joke. Because what you said is a stupid statement. Moshe Rabbeinu bring them one more day because to make a long weekend? Where it says in the Torah. So that's why he gave him also in sense of humor, but it was cynical. He really, so now we understand. So now we know Shavuot is exactly after, 16, from Sfirat HaOmer. We counting, Mimahorat HaShabbat is after Yom Tov. It's not after Saturday. And we counting 49 days, and 50th day, it could be Sunday, could be Monday, could be Tuesday. Okay? Could be different days. According to the Karaim, and according to the Baitusim and the Tzdukim, it always falls on Sunday. So this is a story in Masechet Menachot. Now we understand why Korban hatamid is so important. We will see during the Shi'ur is much more important than we saw until now. But now he said we see the connection between Korban hatamid and Mahatzit HaShekel. Nachon? What the connection? Because the price, the cost, the money of Korban hatamid is coming from Mahatzit HaShekel. So to understand the essence of Korban hatamid, I have to see the essence of Mahatzit HaShekel. So when he said, Lavin, so that's why I'm going now. So we will go through this shi'ur, a journey to understand the essence of Mahatzit HaShekel and the essence of Korban hatamid, and to see the strong connection, and to see why it was big celebration, big time celebration that everybody knows that Korban hatamid is only tzibur, only by public, not by yachid, not by singular. You ready for the journey?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Drink something, l'chaim. Don't worry, it's not arak. So he said, look, he said, now I'm going to see the first pasuk of the parasha, kitisa. What is the meaning of the word kitisa? According to Targum Yonatan, Arum tekabel yat hushman b'nei Yisrael. What does that mean? I explain to you. He wants, I put, what?
To kititza, to elevate.
No, elevate is next. Okay, I'm not there yet, but that's another explanation. I'm here it says, tisa is come from the word negotiation. You know how to say negotiation in Hebrew? I'll tell you how we say negotiation in Hebrew. Masa umatan. Masa umatan. Latet velekabel. To give and to receive. To give and receive. So Targum Yonatan said, kitisa, I want you to tell me the subtotal of the amount of money they collected from a hatzita shekel. He said, Are tekabel yat hushban. Hushban the heshbon. I want to see the subtotal of all the collection. That's one. That's according to Yonatan. Now, who said to elevate?
Shai.
Shai, oh, good memory. said, כי תישא, הנה, אנו מוצאים במקומות הרבה שהקדוש ברוך הוא אומר למשה, שאו את ראש בני ישראל. Elevate the head of בני ישראל. כי תישא את ראש, ולמה כן? Why he said כי תישא, you should carry the head, אלא אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא למשה. Now listen to this carefully. This is the פסיקתא רבתי. When he said, Moshe, Hashem said to Moshe, Moshe, line 11, the red one, כל מה שאתה יכול לרומם את האומה הזו רוממה. If you have opportunity to elevate the Jewish people, elevate, lift up. If you, in another word, if you have to elevate, that means what situation they are? That means they are down, right? They are depressed. They're not in a good mood. If you see the Jewish people not in a good mood, you have to elevate them spiritually. You have to lift them up. If you elevate the Jewish people, listen now, line 12, red and white, yellow. שכאילו לי אתה רומם. When you elevate the Jewish people, you elevate me. Hashem said to Moshe, what does that mean? Can you explain? Hashem said to Moshe, if you elevate the Jewish people, you elevate me. So who is Am Israel? Am Israel and Hashem is one entity. It's not two. He said, you know, if they are down, I'm down. So you elevate them, you elevate me. Shene'emar, how do you know? כי תישא את ראש. What does Rosh mean?
The
Head.
head.
Who is the head? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Rosh. ויעבור, look line 14, מלכם לפניהם והשם בראשם. Hashem is the head of the Jewish people. So he said, כי תישא את ראש בני ישראל. When you elevate, you know, you elevate the head of the Jewish people. It means Hashem and Am Israel is one. You elevate them, you elevate me. That's a very good formula to understand. Now the question, Rabotai, is how you elevate. To elevate is very nice, is a good Dvar Torah. But how you elevate, and what is the connection between elevation or lifting up to Hatzita Shekel? So this in Gemara in Bava Batra, page 10, look what Rabbi Avahu show, line 19. אמר רבי אבאו, אמר משה לפני הקדוש ברוך הוא, ריבונו של עולם. He said, ריבונו של עולם, you said something very important. במה תרום קרן ישראל? What is במה תרום קרן ישראל? How do I do this?
Is what?
How do I do? Do you know the word Keren Israel in another tefillah that we say? Somebody remember? I'll give you a hint. Chodesh Elul. What we say in Chodesh Elul? What is in Aseret Yemei Tshuva? In, after Shmona Esrei. Do you know what we do? Avinu Malkenu. Avinu Malkenu. Do you remember? One of the Avinu Malkenu, Harem Keren Israel Amecha.
Wow.
One of the Avinu Malkenu is Harem Keren Israel Amecha. Please elevate the horn of the Jewish people, the light. Harem Keren. So Moshe asked, Bame Tarum Keren Israel. How do I do this? You know what Hashem said to him? Bekitisa.
Lord.
No. Okay, kitisa is a nice word. Now we have to explain what is the name of this formula, kitisa. How you elevate. I want you to, I don't know how many of you had a back problem. In our age, almost everybody has a problem with his back. And if somebody did not have, I wish him good health and not to have this, never. But me, from experience, after I had a back problem, and I had said, do you remember I had a surgery when I was in Panama? And one of the therapy I did, they taught me for 3 weeks how to walk, how to elevate, how to lift up things. When you are at the airport, how to carry the suitcase. Everything is how to, there is a point in the army, we learn, when you have your friend, let's say, got wounded, and what we do with a soldier that got wounded, what we do with him, we put him on a bed and carry him. What if you don't have a bed or something? You carry him yourself. But you have to pass a course how to lift up the wounded man and which part of your neck. Look here. You see when I'm pointing here on my neck. I put the main point of my friend, of the soldier, in the middle of my neck. If I put him on my neck on the right spot, I would not be hurt and he would not be hurt. So this is an art. This is a special things. You have to know how to elevate, how to lift up. This is when we're talking. Also now, if somebody, if you have somebody in the family, if you are in education, you have a student depressed. Unfortunately, we have many people getting depression today. And now what is the point? The point is how we elevate this man or this woman. How we lift up this child or this boy or this girl. Because if you do not say the right word to the boy or to the girl, you might give a harm to the boy or the girl. You might make it worse than it was. So to lift up at the right point is expertise. And this expertise, Moshe want to ask Hashem, how do I do this? That's question number 1. Question number 2, if it's so important to elevate the Jewish people, why they are so down? Why they are so down, so depressed? Okay? So now, continue, he said. Do you remember we learned also the word Zeh? You see the word Zeh Yitenu? Every time we see in the Torah, what does Zeh mean?
It's 12. Equal 12.
But remember, every time we have the word Zeh, it is very complicated to Moshe. He doesn't understand. Every time we have the word Zeh or Zot. I give you one more explanation now. The Mahatzit Shekel, it says Zeh Yitenu. Do you have another example of Zeh? Which part Moshe did not know how to do in the Mishkan?
The blood.
What?
The menorah.
The menorah. Malka, good for you, Malka. Menorah. If the menorah, do you remember the word? Veze ma'aseh menorah. Veze. Moshe said, how? How? He didn't know. You know what Hashem said? Take this and this and this, put in the fire. And Hashem made the whole menorah. Moshe didn't know how to do the menorah. Do you know another thing that Moshe didn't know how to do? I remember Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh, he said, "HaChodesh hazeh lachem Rosh Chodeshim." Moshe said, "What is Rosh Chodesh? Rosh Chodesh, I mean on a second." So Moshe, what Hashem did, what he showed him? He showed him the moon. He showed him exactly when is Rosh Chodesh. So every time. So now, what do you make sense to you? What is more complicated, the menorah or a coin of a money? What is more complicated? The menorah. So say, wait a minute. The menorah, I can understand why Moshe did not understand. What the big deal about coin? Say, take half shekel. It's like you take a $50. You have a coin of $50 in Panama?
Yes.
You have $50, right? So you take $50, you know, half a coin, have mahatzita shekel, and that's it. What's so complicated? You know, the people say in like a kind of sense of humor that Moshe was so spiritual, he never saw half a shekel in his life. So he said, okay, it's a nice joke, but not good answer. So we'll see. Look what he says, Midrash Tanhuma. It's not regular coin. Not at all. Amar Rabbi Meir kemin matbeya shel esh. Do you hear? This coin was not a regular coin. It was coin of a fire. Hotzi HaKadosh. And where Hashem took the coin from? Not from the bank and not from the grocery store. Hotzi HaKadosh Baruch Hu mitachat kisei hakavod. You know what is kisei hakavod?
Yes.
What is kisei hakavod?
Trono celestial.
The throne of God. He said Hashem took it from the throne of God, under the throne of God, under kisei hakavod. He took the coin of fire. Ve'hera'u leMoshe, and he showed to Moshe. Just exactly as he showed him Rosh Chodesh, the Levana, the moon, he showed him the coin. Va'amar lo, line 5. Ze yitenuk, like this. This is the coin. Kol ha'over ala pekudim. Now you understand, my dear friend, it's not so simple to understand. Coin of fire? Coin of fire, it's so strange. I never saw coin of fire. Because coin, I tell you why coin of fire is very weird. Why? What you do with a coin? What are we doing with money? We take the money and go in shopping. So how do I make shopping? I open my wallet, take with my hand the coin, and pay with the coin with my hand. And what I do with the fire? I put my hand in the fire? The opposite. Fire, you don't touch. Coin, you touch. He said, so what is matbeya shel esh? Matbeya, by the way, if you drop it, it's falling down. Ash, when you make fire, it's up, moving up, not down. And coin, there is a form, there is a shape to the coin. Fire, there is no shape. Everything is different. The ash is, a matter of fact, the antithesis of coin. It's contradict itself. So it's now you understand that it is even more complicated than the menorah. Okay? So let's move forward. And we'll see by the end of the shiur what is coin of fire. Now, Zait Ra'anan explained why the question is, why only half a shekel? It's not big money, half a shekel, even that time. So why not shekel? Why half? You know why half? Shekel-Kadosh explained. He explained that if I bring half, I am nothing if you not with me. That means I need my friend to be with me. I am half and my friend is half. Together we are 1 shekel. Is to show to a person that he need another Jew next to him. That's half. You know, that's why I bring half. Half, you know, to show you're not complete. Is it remind you something? Who is half human being?
Man and woman.
Say it again.
Ish ve'isha.
Very good. Single man, you know, if he's not married, he's a half human being. Because now he need the other half. Because how Hashem called to the men, how say men in Hebrew?
Ish.
No, not Ish. The first when he created.
Adam.
Adam. So Adam is a masculine or feminine?
Masculine.
Masculine.
Do you remember what we learned?
Neutral.
No, not neutral, is together. When Hashem created Adam, it was man and woman together, back to back. Could you imagine your husband was on your back? Can you imagine you going to shopping and your husband said, don't spend too much money, you know? And he go to play basketball and he said, shoot nice. I said, that's the way Hashem created the world. Men and women was back to back. It was men. When Hashem made the surgery and he separated the men and the woman, so he took the masculine side and the feminine side. The masculine side he called Ish. And the feminine side he called Isha. So now tell me, if the formula is Ish plus Isha equal what?
One. Whole.
But why equal what? Adam.
One.
Adam. Ish plus Isha equal Adam. Adam, what is the plural of Adam?
Hatamid.
No plural.
There is no plural.
No plural to Adam. Because Adam, now if somebody is a mensch, somebody know a little Yiddish? Martha, you know Yiddish? No? Where is
No.
I thought you're Ashkenazia.
A little.
But you know, this word you know. How do you say that somebody who really behave good? How do you say he is what? In Yiddish. When he's a good person. Men. You don't know the word mensch? Mensch. Oh, in a shake. Mensch. You know, say mensch. If it's a mensch, it's a masculine. You know what we say in Hebrew? Ben Adam. If it's a woman, what do we say? Bat Adam.
Eshet Hai.
No, not Eshet Hail. No, that's something else. By the way, Eshet Hail, there is Ish Hail. But I said masculine to feminine. If he's a man, she's Ben Adam. If it's a woman, Bat Adam. So the Ben and the Bat is masculine. So remember, Adam originally is man plus woman. Okay, the same thing here. Mahatzit shekel. Here is not masculine and feminine. It's two call Israel Arevim ze baze. So Al-Sheikh said to show that you're not complete if you don't take another Jew with you. So another Jew is symbolize the whole Jewish nation together. That's why he said half. But he doesn't understand yet, you know, that he said he explained why only half. Because he said, why fire? Because why a little bit? Why is not a little bit? If you make a fire, how you make a fire? If I want to make a big fire, what do? How much fire? One match. If I put a little bit spark of fire, can I make big fire?
Yes.
Of course, yes. You don't need big fire. He said, you know, this half a shekel, Hashem said, I'm not following the amount of money you give. Half shekel is like a fire. There's something like a little bit of fire can bring big fire. A little bit of shekel can bring a lot of shkalim. So it's not the quantity, it's the quality. So you understand the parallel between fire and shekel. That's what Zaitra Anan explained beautifully. So he said the same thing, like you bring a little fire, bring a big fire, a little money, bring big money. Okay, now we're moving ahead to 840 before CE, you know, that the time of the kings. You know, do you remember the king Ahav?
Yes.
Ahav, he was the husband of Izebel.
Yeah, it was in the Haftarah this week. It was in the Haftarah of this past Saturday.
Nachon, we said we mentioned Ahav, Ken. We have Ahav, Omri. One of the daughter, I think the granddaughter of Omri, with the Mishpahat Ahav, her name, you know, everybody passed away. She took the kingdom. Her name was Atalyahu. But Atalyahu was a wicked woman. She was worshipping idols and she killed many Jews. And people don't know how to handle it. It was the time, the spirit of the Jewish people in the time of Atalyah was very, very down, depressed. So here in book Divrei Hayamim, the last book of the Tanakh, it says, Ben Sheva Shanim Yoash b'molcho. Yoash he was 7 years king. His mother name was Tzviya mi Be'er Sheva. Yoash was tzaddik, was yashar b'einei Hashem. And he said, Kol Yemei Yoda. And his time was Yehoyada Kohen. וישא לו יהוידע נשים 2 ויולד בנים ובנות. ויהיה אחרי כן היה עם לב יואש לחדש את בית השם. Whatever I skip is not so important. Yoash, all of a sudden, he was the king and he wanted to renew, to make reconstruction to the building of Hashem, to Bet HaMikdash. So what do you need if you want to fix? You need money. ויקבוץ את הכהנים והלוויים, he gathered the כהנים and the לוויים, ויאמר להם צאו לערי יהודה, go to the Jewish cities, וקיבצו מכל ישראל כסף, and have a fundraise, לחזק את בית אלוהיכם, to fix the house of Hashem, מדי שנה בשנה, ואתם תמהרו לדבר ולא מיהרו הלוויים. And they were not in a hurry to do what he said. He wanted money to fix the house. So he saw the people really, really depressed. Why? ויקרא המלך ליהוידע הראש, so the מלך קול יהוידע, the כהן, ויאמר לו, מדוע לא דרשת על הלוויים להביא מיהודה מירושלים את משאת משה? He said, why you didn't tell the people to bring what? משאת משה. You know what is משאת משה? I don't know if you know. So far, I don't know either. But I put it big. Mas'at Moshe. He said, why you did not tell the people to bring Mas'at Moshe? For us is a concept that we don't know the meaning yet. עבד השם והקהל ישראל אוהל העדות. Why? כי עתליהו המרשעת, the wicked עתליהו, בניה פרצו את בית האלוהים. They penetrated to the house of Hashem and they make it impure and they make destruction over there. Just mamash like the Hashmonaim with the Yevanim in Hanukkah. But in Yevanim they were goyim. Here we're talking the family of the queen. They make the place impure and balagan and chaos over there. Destruction. ויאמר המלך ויעשו ארון אחד ויתנו בשער בית השם חוצה. Now line 18. ויתנו קול ביהודה ובירושלים. You know what is called? What is called with kuf?
Voice.
Voice. In another word, announcement. Okay? They gave announcement in Judea and Jerusalem. להביא להשם, to bring to Hashem. What is in red? משאת משה. We still don't know what is משאת משה. עבד אלוהים על ישראל במדבר. Now, look what they respond after they brought משאת משה. Line 20. What's the first word? What is וישמחו?
They were happy.
Now this משאת משה make them happy. וישמחו כל השרים וכל העם ויביאו וישליחו לארון עד לכלה. You know what עד לכלה? Until it was done. Everybody, so now we know that the concept משאת משה, then elevated them spiritually. And they've been in good mood and they became again, even in spite of Ataliyahu. By the way, they killed Ataliyahu at the end. You know, she got the death penalty. You know, this Ataliyahu, this is one of the worst period of the Jewish nation. But they got Masat Moshe and they got happy. And they got a lot of money. Look at line 24. Read, ויאספו כסף לרוב. So much money. The people became in a good mood. Everybody got in good mood and a really good spirit, and everybody brought tzedakah, and everybody brought the money to the Bet HaMikdash to fix the house. So now, what is Masat Moshe? Baruch Hashem, Rabbeinu David Kimchi, Radak, he gave us, and look, he explained what is Masat Moshe. You see line 4? Et Masat Moshe Eved Hashem, hu kesef shkalim. What is this in big? Mahatzit shekel. So he said to them, Masat Moshe is Mahatzit shekel. Why you don't bring? So Rabotai, what Mahatzit shekel? What is like, you know the word sgula. You know what is sgula?
Yes.
Sgula. You know, like sgulat parnasa, sgula, you know, for health. Mahatzit shekel is gula. What is gula of mahatzit shekel? Be happy. Make you happy. They brought mahatzit shekel and they're not depressed anymore. שהיה נותן כל ישראל. מפניהם, they would say, why they call it מסעת משה? Why? What the name of the parasha last week?
Kitisa.
Kitisa, because of the word kitisa. The word mas'at came from the word kitisa. So they called mas'at Moshe because of kitisa. And kitisa, what we talking about? Mahatzit shekel. So now we said we're talking mahatzit shekel. Now we know that mahatzit shekel is a formula how to make the people happy. Just could you imagine? It's not $1 million. But from mahatzit shekel, look, it got so much money. They can fix everything in the house of Hashem. Now we'll see Rav Kook explain, we're going back to the dispute with the tzdukim and baitusim, why we are so stubborn and we insist that, after all, the tzdukim said the public can bring Korban hatamid or not. What did they say? Do you remember? Huh? They said they can bring, but in single also can bring. Say no. Public, period. Tzibur nekuda. Public, no yahid. So why we said we were so stubborn, we insist, we said our dead body, we're not going to give up this time. Because this time, this is the Jewish soul. Korban tamid. We still don't understand why this is a Jewish soul. Okay? And he said, look, line 9, Kasher omrim harem keren Israel amecha. Elevate the horn of Israel amecha. Mother Israel. What is Israel, your nation? Okay? So look what Rav Kook explained. Rav Kook was a Kohen himself. And he has a book, Mishpat Kohen. He was expert on Kohanim. He was expert on everything. He said, Masher atzu atzdukim. Now, let me explain to you. What is the difference between USA or Panama and Israel? There is any difference? When I said Israel, I mean the Jewish people. What do you see any different? Or we are the same? I said USA because USA is considered to be power number one. After what Putin doing to Biden, I don't know if they are number one. But let's say now they consider to be the power number one in the world. Okay? When did they establish themselves? Do you know when USA was established?
1800, late 1800s.
So how many years ago?
More than 100.
More than 200.
Yes.
More than 200. Let's just say, 250 years, okay? Just to make it round. 250 years ago. And they decided they are one nation. Nachon? So what kind of agreement is this? What they had to have some sort of agreement. You know what they have? They have covenant. They have covenant, they have bylaw, and they said according to the covenant, and even inside the covenant, they have 50 states, and each state, they have their own covenant. Many states in the United States, let's say death penalty, you cannot give death penalty in every state. There are specific states you can bring this death penalty. Not every, but there are some federal law. The federal law is around the country, okay? So you know what is it? So what kind? Is this a nation or partnership? Let me give you the answer. This is partnership, pure partnership. This is not a nation. Why I make the partnership? Because if you will be one nation, it's good for you and good for me. It's like, now I'll give you illustration. Then you understand better. If I give to somebody, I said to my friend, let's open restaurant together. And I convince him to open restaurant. What is our goal is?
Make money.
Make money. So is it possible? So why is it possible that one day we will close the store?
Yes.
When? If you don't make money. Nachon? So what him and me? Partners. We're not forever. We didn't get married forever. We just partnership. So every country, France, England, every country in the world, is a partnership, is agreement between the citizenship. How could you be better? How could you make money more? How economically, how can you support? It's business. It's pure business. So now what Tzdukim said Yachid. Now we are a nation. By the way, when you have a minyan and you're not sure if you're 9, 10 or 11, what we're not allowed to do?
Count the people.
Very good. We're not allowed to count the people. Why we're not allowed to count? You know why we're not allowed to count? Because count is finite. Because count is finite. You're not allowed. If you count Jewish people, you know who put numbers in our arm? Who put numbers? Who put numbers here in our hand? Hitler, Yimach Shmo v'Zichro. Why? Because he took us as a number. Number is finite. He thought we are finite. He had a big mistake. He didn't know that we are what? What is the opposite of finite? Infinity. So the Prushim said to Tzdukim, if you say a single can bring, you take single plus single plus single, Yahid plus Yahid plus Yahid equals Tzibur. No, he said, then it's partnership. Partnership is finite, but Am Israel is not partnership. Am Israel is immortality. Am Israel is infinity. The moment that you say Yahid can bring Korban hatamid, this is the moment that you say that we are just like every other nation in the world. And we're not like every other nation in the world. Every other nation in the world is finite. The only nation in the world is infinity, is Am Israel. Now, don't accuse me that I'm a racist. He's not a racist. That's Hashem said. And now, do you remember about the marriage? We're talking about the marriage. Who got married to whom? Hashem to Am Israel. Hashem got married to Am Israel. Now you tell me, you know, one time one student very smart said to me, okay, when you get married, you can get divorced. And you know how the Christianity established themselves? And based on this, Hashem divorced us. We made the golden calf. We are the chosen people. Everybody admit, we are the chosen people. But Hashem said, you know, he said, okay, we are the chosen people. He said, but you were the chosen people. You made the golden calf. Hashem divorced you. Hashem kicked you out. Now, can you prove to me it's impossible? You forgot. I will remind you.
We make teshuvah.
No, but, okay. Now, let's say husband, what?
When you can, because Hashem forced us.
No, Tamarta, now you remember.
When you're forced, you cannot get divorced.
Do you remember what he said? When Hashem forced us, how we call it? Honest. Do you remember the word honest?
Yes.
He's rapping, you know, honest. Now he said, Hashem, why Hashem created, Amaral Miprag explained, why Hashem created situation that he has to make honest. Honest is you, like we use it in a very negative context. Is raping, is if a man find a woman in the field and he rape her. What is the din, the halacha, if a man raped a woman?
He has to marry her and they cannot divorce her.
So who is the honest? Who is the man here?
Hashem.
Hashem. Who is the woman? Us. So Hashem cannot. He can punish us. He can punish us, but never divorce. Never. Because remember what he said? Hashem and us, if you elevate the Jewish people, who you elevate? Hashem. So that Hashem and us is what? One entity. It's not two entities, it's one. If you can destroy Am Israel, Has v'Shalom, you can destroy Hashem. I'm not talking about, you know, atheists, that he doesn't believe in God. Most of the people in the world do believe in God. But if you believe in God, you know that God is infinity. If God is infinity, Am Israel is infinity. So the Tzdukim, the Prushim said to Tzdukim, if a Yahid can bring Korban, you said that we are finite. We're not Am Israel, we're not the chosen people, we're not Am Kadosh. What is Kadosh? Kadosh is separate. It's different than any other nation. You understand? That's what Rav Kook explained. That's why they said over our dead body, because if you admit that Yahid can bring Korban, you do not admit that Am Israel is Netzach. You remember the word Netzach?
Infinity.
Infinity. Remember the word Netzach. I'm using the Hebrew word b'chavana, intentionally. He said Netzach. Remember the word Netzach. Do you remember I say victory in Hebrew?
Netzach. Nitzayon.
Nitzachon. What the root of the word Nitzachon? Netzach.
Netzach.
So the word Nitzachon goes the Netzach. אבל באמת Israel. So Israel and partnership is two different concepts. That's why Korbanot Tzibur must be from the Tzibur. Because this is the main thing of the Kedusha, of the sanctity. And that's the big mistake of the Tzdukim. So the Tzdukim, by the way, do we have Jews today that we are like every other nation? Yes, we have, unfortunately. Those people do not understand even the sanctity of the Jewish people. They just don't understand. Say, oh, it sounds racist. Say, no, Hashem said in the Torah, this Torah that we have is the Old Testament of the Christian. It says over there, Hashem chose us, Hashem never divorced us in the Torah, and we are His people, and He's in. I'll give you by the end, I know if I read to you one time, from one guy what he said about it.
Can you tell me again what is honest? Honest, what is it?
Honest, when a man forces woman to sleep with him.
Okay.
How you say it in English?
Rape.
Rape.
Violación, sí.
Exactly, rape. How you say it in Spanish?
Violación.
So now we understand that it's honest. But the honest could be every time that if somebody put a gun on his friend and he said, give me your money, that's also honest. Okay? Honest is not only between men and women. Every time that you force somebody, Hashem forces us to receive the Torah, it's honest. But the situation was because to show that the marriage between us and him is infinity, is forever.
So we can say also, Rabsaidi, that the Mahatzifat shekel that we give is Hetzi Anachnu v'Hetzi Hashem Gamke.
Ah, that's, who is it, Malka said?
Okay.
Malka, you are a very spiritual woman.
Because we are part half and a half.
No, but it's I didn't mean to say it, but you know, it's really it's a lot of sense. It's a lot of sense because if Hatzi is men and men, Hatzi is men and women, and the man is Hashem and the woman is us. I buy what you said, Malka.
So,
Very good.
But they say that when we elevate Hashem, it's never enough. For that, it's half.
It's never enough. That means, you know, you always can be elevated. Okay, now, my dear friend, I'm going to one of the most weird story in the Bible. One of the most. But we, you know, this is a very dangerous to learn this perek, this sefer. And did you ever go to the cemetery in Tzfat, where it's Ari Kadosh? Whoever was there, there is another, you know, big grave. Do you remember? Somebody know the big grave over there? It's a house. It's the grave of Hosea. Hosea was the prophet. And Hosea, and in book of Hosea, in chapter 1, there is something very, very strange, and you will see now. Please stay with me, and I'll try to go as fast as I can. Hashem said to Hosea, כן? תחילה דיבר השם בהושע, ויאמר השם אל הושע, לך קח לך אשת זנונים. They're very strong and graphic here, but I'll try to translate as it is. It sounds weird, but we will say why. I want you to get married to a prostitute woman. Listen to this. וילדי זנונים, and bring from her children. כי זזונות יזנה הארץ מאחורי השם. He said, I want to get, you know, Hashem said to the prophet to get married to a prostitute woman and to bring not kosher children. Do you hear what he said? He said, I thought it's a metaphor. And Hashem said, no, that was literally. Why? Okay, you will see in a minute. וילך ויקח את גומר בת דבליים. It was a very famous VIP prostitute. Her name was Gomer. the daughter of Divlaim. And she got pregnant and she gave him a son. Vayomer Hashem elav קרא שמו Israel. I want you to name the baby Israel. כי עוד מעט ופקדתי דמי ישראל על בית יהוא והשבעתי ממלכות ישראל, because I'm going to cut off. You know what is zera? Zera is offspring. I'm going to cut off the zera of Israel. I'm going to wipe out. It's the name that he gave to the children, is everything symbolize another kind of destruction of the Jewish people. והיה ביום ההוא ושברתי את קשת ישראל בעמק יזרעאל. I went to break down the bow, the rainbow of Israel in the valley of Israel. ותער עוד, and she got another pregnancy, and she got a daughter, girl this time. Do you know how to say mercy in Hebrew?
Rahamim.
Rahamim. Do you know how to say? Do you have Rahamim is a boy's name. Do you know if I said mercy to a woman? What's her name? You ever heard the name Ruhama? Ruhama. Okay. My wife's mother, her name is Ruhama. Ruhama is from the word mercy. And look what Hashem said to call her. He said, Krashma lo Ruhama. Not Ruhama, no Ruhama. No mercy. Why? כי לא אוסיף עוד הרחם. No more mercy on the Jewish people. ואת בית יהודה הרחם, והושעתים בהשם אלוהיהם ולהושיעם. ותגמול את לא רוחמה. After she finished to feed לא רוחמה, she got another son. You know what the name? How do you say my nation? Ami. You know what the name of the third boy? ויאמר קרא שמו לא עמי. Because you're not my nation anymore. So what's behind this story? What is this really? You know? So listen to the story. I'm going to skip a few things to make it, more short. He said, אמר לו, line 23, אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא להושע, בניך חטאו. Your children have sinned to me. Your sons. Who is your sons? Am Israel. What Hashem expect from Hosea to say now?
Have mercy.
Have mercy? Can you give me an example from a good prophet?
Moshe Rabbeinu.
What Moshe said?
Wipe thee from your book.
Not only have mercy, he said, wipe out my name. But look what Hosea said. והיה לו לומר, he should say it, בניך הם בני חנוניך. Are you going to destroy your children? My children is your children. He is the children of Abraham, Yitzhak ויעקב. גלגל רחמך עליהם. Please have a mercy upon them. לא דיו שלא אמר כך. Not only he did not say this, you know what he said to him? Somebody know the story? If not, it's a big time story. אמר לפניו, this is Gemara what I'm reading to you. ריבונו של עולם, כל העולם שלך הוא, the entire world belong to you. העבירם באומה אחרת. Switch them. You have 70 nations. Switch. Exactly what the Christianity said. אמר הקדוש ברוך הוא, עכשיו now הקדוש ברוך הוא is happy or unhappy?
Angry.
Very unhappy. He said, this is a leader? He said, העבירם באומה אחרת? Switch? מה אעשה לזקן זה? What should I do to this old man? Line 3. Now we explain, the Gemara explain the text that we read in the book of דברי, כן? הושע. לך וקח לך אישה זונה, go and take a prostitute woman. והוליד לך and deliver children, unkosher children. ואחר כך אומר לו, שלחה מעל פניך. After he got 3 children, he said to him, I will tell him to divorce her. אם הוא יכול לשלוח, if he can divorce her, so maybe I can divorce my Am Israel also. ויאמר Hashem, so Hashem said, let's take this test. And he took Gomer bat Divlaim. Why they called Gomer bat Divlaim? Because she was so much in public, everybody knows her. Everybody knows that she is I would say, professional prostitute. said, you know, it said the Gemara gives another explanation. I cannot even say it. You can look at Masechet Psachim, page 87 in English. Amar Shem Tuka befia kol kidvela. Why he said dvela is a fig. She was so sweet like a fig. Ahar kach he said, Rabbi Yehuda. So now it's going on and on and on. When Hashem said to him about the 3 children, after this, I'm skipping after all this. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu, line 17, להושע, לא היה לך ללמוד ממשה רבך, שכיוון שדיברתי עמו פירש מן האישה? משה רבנו, you know, he came to a מדרגה that when I spoke to him, he did not have even relationship with his wife. אף אתה בדול עצמך ממנה, so now separate from your wife. אמר לו, after he got 3 children, unkosher children, and she is unkosher, אמר לו, ריבונו של העולם, יש לי בנים ממנה, I have children from her, ואין אני יכול להוציאה ולא לגרשה, I cannot divorce her. אמר לי הקדוש ברוך הוא, ומה אתה שאשתך זונה ובניך בני זונים ואין אתה יודע אם שלך אין או של אחרים? You cannot divorce a prostitute woman. You don't know even if your children is your children. They might be the children of somebody else. And you cannot divorce. And you want me to divorce Israel? That they are the children of Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov? I want you to tell you something, Hosea. You made a big mistake. I had 4 transactions in my life. You know what is transaction? There are few times that Hashem have acting of buying. What? He said, Torah kinyan ehad. One transaction was the Torah. Dichtiv Hashem kanani reshit darko shamayim va'aretz kinyan ehad. Heaven and earth is mine. Dichtiv kana shamayim va'aretz. He bought heaven and earth. Bet HaMikdash kinyan ehad. Third one. Bet HaMikdash. So far what we have? What we have? Say Torah, heaven and earth, and Bet HaMikdash. You ready for the next one? He said, Har, זה קנתה ימינו. ישראל, קניין אחד. דכתיב עם זו קנית לי. Israel, עם ישראל, is one of the 4 transactions I have in my life. ואתה אמרת, line 26, העבירם באומה אחרת? And you are telling me to transfer, to switch? Now, when Hosea saw the rebuke of Hashem, and he understood why Hashem told him to marry to a prostitute, how he felt? What do you think how he felt now?
Very bad.
Very, very, very bad. That's embarrassing. Kevan she'yada she'chata, now he realized that he have sinned. Amad levakesh rachamim al atzmo. He said, Hashem, please have mercy upon me. Another mistake. You know what the mistake?
Mercy on Israel.
He said, אמר לו הקדוש ברוך הוא, line 27, עד שאתה מבקש רחמים על עצמך, בקש רחמים על ישראל. You ask mercy upon you, גזרתי עליהם 3 גזרות. You know why 3 children? Because each child is a decree. He said, I gave 3 decrees. And instead of this, בקש רחמים בטל גזרה. You have to ask mercy upon the Jewish people, not upon you. And then he understood, this time, he understood fully his mistake. You know, now he understood, how could I say switch them? What a shiur, what a lesson Hashem gave me. And not only this, after this I said, have mercy upon me. When Moshe said to Hashem, mercy upon me? Never. Every time he asked mercy upon Am Israel. But he's not learning. And then he gave him bracha. You know what bracha? והתחיל לברכן, שנאמר והיה מספר בני ישראל. Let's see now, that was the chapter what I read to you, the Hosea chapter 1. Now look chapter 2. Now, והיה מספר, do you remember what he said? What is מספר? Number. So remember, Martha, what he said, number is finite or infinite?
Finite.
Finite. והיה מספר, what the mistake of Hosea? The mistake of Hosea, that he thought that Am Israel is finite. He said, switch is finite. So he started, Vaya mispar bnei Israel, the number of Am Israel, kehol hayam. So far, like the dust of the sand of the sea, of the ocean. Asher lo yimad velo yisafer. That it is unmeasured, uncount. You cannot count. Wait, there is contradiction in this pasuk. And the beginning of the pasuk, he said mispar, finite. And then at the end, he said it's countless. So countless is infinity. So you know what the bracha is? He said, now, if people looking at us, the Am Israel, you know, by face, by the body language, by nose, by eyes, are we looking like everybody else? Nachon? So we look like everybody. So we look like we can be count. We look like everybody. If you want to destroy us, you can destroy us. Especially we are a very small nation. Okay? We look like number. But really, we are countless. We are infinity. We look finite. Yoshea gave the bracha that all the time the nations will think you are finite. But really I give you the bracha, lo yimad velo yisafer. Now you know, if you count the Jewish people, are you making a mitzvah or a violation?
Violation.
You know how many? 2. Lo yimad velo yisafer. No measure and no counting. So that means if somebody counting Jewish people, he violated 2 laws. לא יימד ולא יספר. והיה במקום אשר הוא אומר, לא עמי אתם. Now, after he make תיקון, he make תשובה, he said, now, בני אל חי, you are my nation. And he said, יום ישראל, אמרו לאחיכם עמי, tell your brother you are my nation, and to your sister Ruhama, not lo Ruhama. Baruch Hashem, the end is good. But look what Hashem, Moshe was a big time prophet. And he himself made a big mistake to understand that we are countless. And now he said, Ve'erastich, when Hashem got married to us, remember he says, remember the action word to get married? Remember how he said the action word, the verb in the Torah to get married? לקחת, very good, לקחת. והוצאתי והצלתי וגאלתי, what the fourth one? ולקחתי. And what the first word of פרשת תרומה? ויקחו לי תרומה. לי. Remember the word לי we learned a few weeks ago? הרי את מקודשת לי. When he said והרי את מקודשת בדיוק, ויקחו לי תרומה. ויקחו לי תרומה. So this is marriage. ולקחתי אתכם לי לעם. Hashem said, I will take you to me as a nation. But this to me is not like men and women. It's much, much stronger. Because a man can divorce his wife. But me and you never can be separated. This is immortality marriage. This is infinity between Am Israel. Now we understand what Maharad Miprag says honest. Now, so his Rabbi Elazar said, if you count, you get two violation. Now, I'm very, very close to the end. Well, we have 5 minutes. We are 1.5 hours. Said we have exactly. Agaon, but beautiful, beautiful. Stick to your chair. 5 more minutes. It's worth it. They have 3 rabbis. Question, which pasuk is the pasuk that include Am Israel the best? What do you think is the most important pasuk in the Torah? What do you think?
Shema Israel.
Very good, Shema Israel. So you are the first one. So okay, say, he said, look, Rabbi Seval Vayikra, it's in Yaakov, Matzinu pasuk kolel yoter. Shema Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Okay? But Matzinu pasuk kolel yoter. He says, you know, he said, I have another pasuk. One was said, what the other pasuk? Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You should love your friend as you love yourself. The now the question is, which pasuk include Am Israel more? Shema Israel or Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha? Is dispute. One rabbi said, Shema Israel Hashem Elokeinu. You know, and the other rabbi says, "Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha." You ready for the third one? Fasten the seatbelt. Ben Pazi Omer, there is pasuk better than Shema Israel and better than Ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You know what is it? את הכבש אחד תעשה בבוקר ואת הכבש השני תעשה בין הערביים. You know what is this? Korban hatamid. He said Korban hatamid. Now you understand why he said Korban hatamid better than Shema Israel? Yeah, because Korban hatamid represent the immortality of the Jewish nation. The Korban hatamid is the best pasuk. Now he said, who is right? We have three rabbis here. Amad Rabbi Ploni, one rabbi stood up on raglav, on his feet. Ve'amar halacha keven Pazi. Ben Pazi is the right one. That Korban hatamid, et keves ehad, this is the pasuk. Now tell me now, if you go to yeshivot, to go to any place they study Torah, you said pasuk like Namar, ever said Shema Israel, v'ahavta l'reacha. Nobody will say et keves ehad. Who will think that et keves ehad is important pasuk? He said the keves ehad is klal Israel, is the sanctity of Am Israel. That's why we celebrated big time, big time, when we defeated the tzdukim. Now, answer to me, why coin of fire? This is very strong. Malka, you remember? Malka, get ready. Get ready for this, Malka. I don't want to fall from your chair. Why coin of fire? Why coin of fire represent the immortality? You know why? Remember what I told you, the difference between coin and fire? Coin is you touch it, right? And it's no shape, and you transfer from hand to hand. And ash, the opposite. You don't touch it. You know what is who is coin of fire? Am Israel. We look like coin. We look like somebody can touch us. But if somebody touches us, you know what happened to him?
Gets burnt.
Consumed by the fire. You know why he has the guts to try to touch us? He doesn't see the fire. Because we looks like other people. He doesn't understand that we are coin of fire. Mahatzit shekel is one of the best expression to show what is matbea shel esh. Because look what happened to all the nation who tried to touch us. I know that I read to you one time. I don't know if I can, it's small. Do you see the English?
Yes.
You know, do you remember, Martha, who wrote this?
No.
Come on, Mark Twain. Mark Twain is, you know, it says here, this article is from 1899. It's not Abarbanel, it's not Rambam, it's not Rashi. It's secret. Every time I said Mark Twain, the people said, wow. I said, what? Mark Twain is more important than Rashi? He said, no, if a guy say it, guy is much more powerful. That's a very famous. Let's see if we can read it, okay? You see it? You see the word?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if hold on. Okay, let's together, if somebody can join me. Say the Egyptian, the Babylonian, the Persian rose filled the planet with sound of splendor. Oh, and I have to make it a little bit smaller. Then fed it to dream stuff. I'm the second line. And passed away. So what happened to the Babylonian and Persian? Big power. Big power. Today the Iranian think they are big power. And what happened? Passed away. The Greek and the Roman followed, just like they did Babylonian, and made a vast noise like Putin today. And they are gone. Other peoples have sprung up, and their torch high for a time. You know what he said here? He said they have a big noise, and they had a torch, but only for a short time. But what happened to the torch? But it burned out. And they sit in twilight now. If you have a nation today that we mentioned now before, he said, if they still exist, they are in twilight now. all have vanished. Do you have Kasdim today? No. Do we have Bavlim today? No. We have the Greeks today? No. The Greek today is not the Greeks of their then. The Egyptian even is not the Egypt of then. He said, have vanished. Now listen to the second part. I love this. The Jew. Okay, here. No, I love the line. Saw them all. Beat them all. And is now what he always was, exhibiting no decadence, no infirmities of age, no weakening of his part, no slowing of his energies, no dulling of his alert and aggressive mind. Now I stop here. You understand? He said now he put all the nations of the world. They try to touch the coin. He doesn't say coin. I put, my shiur to his words. They touch the coin, and everybody either been consumed completely or been hand damaged, and they are either vanished or in twilight now. Very, very small nation. Look at the Greek today, or Rome today, Greece today. Is a small nation. Compared to Israel, is a small city. Very small. And what is Israel today? Not with quantity. Not quantity. We are 7 million. Where are we today in the world? He said, marching forward, and every day we get more power and more power. And no rationale to this. Nobody can explain any rationale to this situation. Now listen to the next sentence. My gosh, you see what I see?
Yes, all things are mortal.
Okay, now. All things are mortal. What is mortal?
They die.
Finite. All things are but the Jew. Do you hear what he said? Everybody in the world is finite except the Jew. All other forces pass, but he remains. Now listen, the last statement of Mark Twain is probably the most important. What is the secret of his immortality? That means what Mark Twain admit?
Infinity.
He admit what Hoshea ben Be'eri did not know. He admit, do you know, if Mark Twain would be with us in this shiur, he would know the secret. He doesn't know the secret because he didn't have Jewish education, but he was a brilliant guy. He was brilliant to understand that the Jewish people are immortality, are infinity. You don't have to be very, very smart to understand it. Whoever knows, even Zeresh, you know who is Zeresh? You know Zeresh? Ishto shel Haman. What did she say to Haman? אם מזרע היהודים הוא, נפול תיפול לפניו. If he is Jewish, you finished. Because he is infinity and you are finite. That's what you don't understand. And now he said, how proud we have to see. And that's why I put in big. He said, now we understand. Netzach Israel lo yeshaker. You know who said this to whom? Netzach Israel lo yeshaker means the immortality of the Jewish people is not a fake. Is really, really emet. You know who said? Shmuel. When he saw that Shaul did not kill Amalek, he came to Amalek with a sword and he cut him to pieces. And he said, Netzach Israel lo yishaker. Because until now we have Amalekim like Iran, like many other, unfortunately many other people that I don't want to say the name, because Iran said clear, the Arabs, most of the Arabs said clear. All what they say today is to see the Jewish people as a finite nation. That's why Hitler, יימח שמו, he called it final solution. Final solution comes from the word finite. He said the final solution, if the world will be without the Jews, the world will look much better. People did not understand what many Goyim did understand. And Balak said to Bil'am, I want you to curse this nation because this nation is immortality. He understood. That's why he said to curse them. But Baruch Hashem, we are married to Hashem forever. And what do I have to do to bring the light of Mahatzit HaShekel, Last week we learned how to do Mahatzit HaShekel. Remember Shmirat Shabbat. Said you bring Shomer Shabbat, Kodesh. And Shabbat is also when you have Zecher leMahatzit HaShekel. When you do Mahatzit in synagogue, in Bet Knesset, don't say Mahatzit HaShekel, say Zecher. To remember, because it's not Mahatzit HaShekel. If you said Mahatzit HaShekel, you sanctify the coin. You're not allowed to use it for tzedakah or something. So he said, Baruch Hashem, so Be'ezrat Hashem, will be Shomer Shabbat, will be believer of God, and will see all the enemies that do not believe that we are Netzach Israel or Shaker, and the Mashiach will come and will see a quick light, big light, and quick redemption. Thank you very, very much.
Amen.
Asag be'emat.
Baruch.